What's up guys, Phoenix here. This video is going to be another Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile video, and this time it is going to be on my own personal Draco-Pal deck list. I played some DEVpro videos with this deck and put them up a couple of days back. There are going to be more going out later because I really enjoy playing this deck. I've been playing this deck around at locals as well. I really enjoy playing this deck for the amount of time that it's still probably going to be legal, depending on when we get our next ban list. My build is definitely not what I would consider standard by any stretch of the imagination. I take a lot of, I've made a lot of libertarious, what is the word I'm thinking of? Basically, I've just made a lot of strange choices that fit my own mindset of deck building. And basically, this deck, I have an entire, like, piece of paper over here with just all the different percentages and stuff that I've calculated for this deck. Like, this is probably the most percentage-heavy deck, or most, like, percentages paid, like, the most heavy toll and like part of deck building with this deck than anything else that I've ever built, and like that's the reason why it's built the way that it is. I've been playing the deck like this for a few weeks on DEVpro, and I just recently decided to put it together IRL to just play at locals and stuff, to just kind of have some fun with that. But anyway, deck list, the obvious one of Skull Crobat and Monkey Board, and then the playset of Pendulum Sorcerers, and then something that's a bit weird that you don't see very often is I'm actually playing 3 Geturtle and 3 Lizard Draw. Now the reason for this is because the deck lacks high scales, but it also, like, I'm playing a lot more like good one-of cards and stuff like that in this build, and the high scale is obviously extremely relevant, but the fact that you can just get into more cards is just very, very valuable to you. If you count and also like increasing the numbers of these just increases the amount of times you're going to open with Pot of Greed. And like you can continually clear your scales with Pendulum Sorcerer, get another Geturtle, get another Lizard Draw, and just have it set up for the next turn to start your next turn with Pot of Greed. You can essentially sequence your plays to where you're starting every single turn with a live Pot of Greed, because you can resolve Pendulum Sorcerer up to 3 times and search 3 different Geturtles. And then you obviously have the Lizard Draws that you can access off of those as well. So you just have so many different ways to power into your deck with this, and like drawing cards after you've searched combo pieces is just really good, or even beforehand, because it can just give you the missing combo pieces that you needed. If you count Joker as the 4th copy of both of these cards, we're not going to count Monkey Board because obviously that clogs your scale. So like say you're missing one of these and you have Joker or whatever, but if you count Joker as the other copy of the card, and you so technically have 4 copies of each in your deck, going first, you have a 16% chance of just opening Pot of Greed with these 2 cards, and if you go second, then you have a 22.1% chance, and like that's literally a fifth of your games going second that you'll just be able to open into cards that let you draw cards and potentially get into more cards to out your opponent's board. It's especially in the mirror and like against Cosmo if they have like a lot of traps and stuff, PK Fire, like all these points are really relevant, and like the fact that it's high scales is really good because the Draco Slayer engine just floods you with low scales sometimes, so like you kind of need more high scales that can like actually do stuff. But there's another reptile target. I play Mask Chameleon because I want pinpoint access to Ignister as quickly as possible, and since I'm playing 3 Lizard Draws plus this, like King of the Fair Limps is an option in the extra deck now that's actually like decent. And if you already are cycling your Lizard Draws into like circulation and getting the proper Geturtle draws and sequencing off plays off that, you can just get Mask Chameleon pretty easily and then get into Ignister, which automatically puts your Luster into circulation, which gives you access to further Ignisters down the road, all those types of things. But for the Draco engine, 1 Luster, Triple Master, and only 2 Vector Pendulum. Vector, I was playing 3 for a while, but it just kept floating. It kept like ending up in my hand, and I really didn't like enjoy that. And so I eventually decided to like start running numbers on it, and I came to like the number conclusion that if you play 2 Vector and 3 Face-Off, you only have a 0.3% of a chance to draw 1 Face-Off plus your 2 Vectors in your opening hand going first, and that only goes up to a 0.6% chance going second. So like this is the only time that Face-Off would be dead, and the games don't last long enough for you to resolve multiple Face-Offs, so even if you draw one of these with a Face-Off, like you're capable of resolving that face-off, and that's usually enough because the games, especially in like matchups other than the mirror, they just do not last that long for you to resolve 2 face-offs. Even if they did, I'm playing Emerald in the extra deck, and like there have been times when I would just like Emerald and shuffle one of these back with like a Skull Crobat Joker, and then Draco face-off it back out, and then like I'd be able to search like Joker off of Pendulum Wizard and stuff. Like resolving multiple cards and resetting your resource pool is always really good. So I'm usually always with Emerald. Like I love Emerald. That card's like always in like an extra deck that I can fit it into. But anyway, triple Ariadne because I'm playing the counter trap build because I'm ignorant as shit, And then for going second, just general backer removal, I'm playing 2 Archfiend and 2 Dinko Sekka. I didn't like 3 Archfiend. I felt like 2 is the right number, simply because I already have a lot of high scales in the form of Giturtle and Lizard Draw. So the high scales definitely weren't a problem, especially since those cards are more searchable, more accessible. This card, I was just having a lot of problems with drawing multiples of it, because of the fact that you can only use either of its effects once per turn, or rather each of its effects once per turn. So like if you drew like 2 of these, or even 3 of it, like God forbid, you can't MST 2 cards and then put the last one in the scale. Or like if you drew 2, you just can't MST 2 cards and then play with the rest of your hand. So it was kind of clogging for me in that area. But also Dinko is just a very, very good card to draw going second, especially in the mirror, especially against like literally like everything. Against PK Fire, Cosmo, and the mirror. Like if you go second in the mirror, like and you draw Dinko, which going second in a 6-card hand with 2 Dinkos in your deck, you have a 49.3% chance going second of drawing any one of these cards in your opening hand. So if they end with 1 counter trap, like Archfiend can get the job done, or if they have 2, you can play this and like probably bait their other one with something else. But you also just have the option of opening Dinko, and Dinko is like, it is a 2 of, it's like a 32% chance or something like that, for just getting one of these 2. I can't remember the exact number on it, and I didn't write it down on my piece of paper conveniently. I only wrote down the number of like getting one of any of these 4, but it's still just, it gives you playable hands going second in the mirror, most importantly, because that's really important, especially because the deck has evolved into making Titanic Galaxy, which means like cards like Twin Twister and Raigeki and stuff like that, like they aren't that great anymore because they literally have the out to it that they summon. And so Dinko is just like a card that like this could have been a Twin Twister, which takes away a combo resource from you that also gets negated by Titanic Galaxy. But instead, you just normal summon this, shut off all their back row. If you have a Wavering Eyes and the left scales up, it's even better. Like you can do all sorts of things, and you can actually play the game and potentially even blow them out. And it's very easy for you to just like search your own counter traps with your own Ariadne plays and stuff after like outing their entire board, or at least everything that mattered, and then you can literally overlay with the Dinko and set your own counter traps, and you basically just win the game from going second at that point, because like you had no business winning that game, but you just somehow did. But that's 25 monsters. There's 10 spells, triple Draco face off, 2 Painful Decision. I'm playing 2 Instant Fusion in the main. And opening with Painful Decision and Instant Fusion is actually just like the nut combo, because like you send Master, add Master, Instant Fusion Norden, get back the Master you just sent, overlay into King of the Pharolymphs, get your Lizard Draw if you have a Giturtle play, you can get the Mask Chameleon if that's what you need by detaching the Master, and so you've already gathered a resource from that. You've gathered a resource off the Painful Decision, you've gotten a +1 off the Instant Fusion, and then the Master is still in your graveyard to be used with Dinoster plays later in the turn. Like it's all stuff like that that's really cool. But then the last 3 spells are just obvious Wavering Eyes. Like this card probably shouldn't exist 100%, because this card, it's not as bad as it used to be, like in Magician Pendulum format, and like Magician Performage, Magician Pepe, whatever you want to call it, because people have them, like they didn't have a reliable way of clearing their scales back then, and like the only card you really had was you could clear your scale by summoning double Ignister and outing boards, or you could just hold Joker, or not Joker, whatchamacallit, Damage Juggler, for the Wavering Eyes and not commit to your combo piece. You had ways to play around it, like especially with like Pendulum Call and stuff. But like now with like the advent of like Joker, or not Joker, Sorcerer, you can just clear your scale and then search a new scale, or at least pieces that will get you to a new scale, which makes it very easy to play around this card in the mirror, and it just turns more into a combo piece than anything. But there are some juicy games where you just catch people with this, and it's insane. But other than that, I am playing 5 counter traps to go with the Ariadne. 2 Strike, Warning, and double Scolding. Scolding is just really good, especially if you're able to leave like Ariadne in your scale. It's actually just insane. A lot of the time, you try to end your boards going first with like Magister, Titanic Galaxy, and like a Giant Hand. That way, if they're playing Dinko in the mirror game 1 as well, like you can Giant Hand the Dinko, so you don't get your things locked down, so that you have like outs to Wavering Eyes and stuff. In the form of Scolding and stuff. But like Scolding is just really good. A lot of people are sleeping on that card. The card is insanely good, and you never really want to reveal multiples, but like if you have this card, you're really safe, and like you track how you're going to like set your cards, because Scolding like has to be the only one that's set, obviously, but like you can easily just like use this to negate like multiple different things. Like this card literally negates anything. Like, everything in the game is negated by this card. Judgment doesn't do that. Strike doesn't do that. Warning doesn't do that. It literally negates everything. which makes it very, very good. But anyway, extra deck, double Ignister, double Magister, and double Dinoster. I never make the second Magister. I literally never make it. I've needed the third Ignister a lot. So this once I actually just like acquire one, I'm probably gonna wait until like we get a little bit more in safe waters out of banless season to swap Magister for a third Ignister, because I literally only summon one Magister the entire game. Like, I never actually need the second one. It never actually like comes up to where it's like the better play. But for the instant fusions, 2 Nordens, just because I don't want to be forced to making Emerald off my first Norden, and like this extra deck has a lot of room, basically. Especially since I'm not playing Rafflesia. But for my rank 8 Titanic Galaxy, obviously, this card is insane. This card is literally like the sole reason why I stopped playing Mermail, because like when they would make this card and set counter traps beforehand, when they didn't have this card, they would make like Felgrand instead, or they would just leave their guys out. And at that point, like, that's fine, because you get to like Twin Twister their back row and you can just kill them with like Neptibus if you have Neptibus hand. But now you literally need like Twin Twister, Neptibus, and Chalice just to have like a 3-card hand. Even though Neptibus gives you 2 extra cards, it doesn't really matter. But you have to have a 3-card hand you have to have Twin Twister, Chalice, and a 3-card hand that includes Neptibus and other combo pieces to like outboards with this. So like it became really like not favorable to play Mermail, like for me at least. Like, I really love the deck, and I think the deck has a lot of potential in the future once this deck gets hit. But as it stands right now, because of this card's sole existence being backed up by counter traps, like, Mermail has just gotten a little bit worse. It's definitely not a lot worse. It's only like marginal, but it's still like it's games that you would have won otherwise that now you just don't. But for the rest of the extra deck, 1 King of the Fair Limps for the Mass Chameleon and the Lizard Draws, 1 Giant Hand because Rafflesia just takes up a main deck spot, and I just figured this card was better. This card is really good, like I said, for like, you can just make it if you're like thinking that your opponent might be playing Denko in the mirror, and so like when they summon Denko, then you just Giant Hand them, so that they can't keep doing their things without fearing your counter traps. Like, they have to answer your counter traps still if you put this up. Castel, Diamond Dyer, just out problem cards, and a Daigusto Emerald and a Abyss Dweller round out the extra deck. You may be noticing there's no Utopia and no Utopia Lightning in my extra deck. It's because it's really, really strange when you play against the Magnus deck. One, if they even make Magnus first turn, which they can do on a consistent basis, I am aware. I've played that deck before. I'm aware of how consistently it can summon Magnus, at least to a degree. But the thing is that with this deck, if Magnus has 6 or more materials on it, it can spin cards, it can spin your Utopia the Lightning, which is an out, all these different things. So basically, literally, you have to commit 3 extra deck slots to outing Magnus in the form of 2 Utopias and a Utopia the Lightning. And then, even then, your hand has to be able to support putting 4 level 4s on the board without searching cards. So that's either Pendulum for 4, or set up a scale Pendulum for 2 4s, and then have Instant Fusion. So that's still a 5 to 6 card combo, because you have to have your scales plus the Instant Fusion 2 4s, or the 4 level 4s by themselves. So it's a 5 or 6 card combo. You make your Utopia with the first 2 4s, you make Lightning, you go to enter your battle phase, they have to use Magnus in main phase, so they spin your Utopia, and then you use the remaining 2 level 4s, or you Instant Fusion for the cards that fell off Utopia, and you bring out the second Utopia in your extra deck and make you Lightning and out the Magnus. Like, that's the most reliable way to out Magnus in America right now. But that takes up 3 cards out of your extra deck, and it's so unreliable that I'm just more comfortable taking the game 1 loss to the Magnus deck and citing better cards that out it better, like Kaijus and stuff like that, where the Kaijus can literally just be tributed over them, and then I can play my Yu-Gi-Oh with the rest of my 5-card hand. Things like that just seem better to me. It's kind of like Towers Turbo back in the day. Like, people would literally, like, in BA format, BA shit all Clifford format, when people were playing Towers, the very, very first iteration of Towers Turbo, like, people would literally just take the game 1 loss to Towers and then side deck cards that, like, prevented people from summoning it. And that's kind of the same deal that I'm adopting with the Great Magnus deck, the Super Quantal deck, because the deck is at its best when there's the least amount of awareness about it. And there's a lot of awareness about that deck right now. People know it exists. People know what it can do because of the fact that it won an event, because Calvin Ton won with it. And because of that, like, you just have a lot of different issues playing that deck if you're going to play that deck in an event. Give it another couple of months, the community might forget that it exists, or at least the majority of it, and not play outs to it. But as of right now, I consider the deck just easily beatable by everything else side decked anyway. So I feel like if I dodge it for a couple of rounds, even though I am siding outs for it, I probably won't have to deal with it as an actual problem, is my theory, if I were to take this deck to an event. That is my 100% theory on that deck. But anyway, that is the deck. Let me know what you guys think about this deck in the comments down below if you like pendulums or hate them. I personally love the pendulum mechanic, but that's a completely different video in its entirety. I think it's done wonders for the game and also done terrible things to the game. But that's an entirely different video, as I have already said. But yeah, let me know if you like the pendulum decks in general. If you like a certain pendulum deck that's just not this, just say so in the comments, because like there's some people that are just like completely hating on the pendulum mechanic, and I mean rightfully so. I can see why they would, but I mean still, you got to kind of give it a little bit of leniency because of the fact that like it kind of ensures the future of Yu-Gi-Oh for a foreseeable, like an unforeseeable amount of time. But basically, that's all for this video. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Do all the nonsense you usually do. Check out the links in the description to my Twitch links and my Facebook links if that's something you're interested in. If you want to support me the old-fashioned way, you can always click on that if you haven't. I'd greatly appreciate it. It helps make money. No reason to lie to you guys about that. But other than that, that is it for this video. Again, let me know if you guys enjoyed this deck profile and enjoyed the thought processes I put behind it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments down below. But other than that, as always, guys, take care.